Good evening, everyone, and welcome to York College. Welcome to another of our virtual open evenings. My name's Lee Probert, and I'm the college's Chief Executive and Principal, and it's a real pleasure to welcome you this evening, albeit virtually. I am still sorry that we're not back in the building and able to show you around all of the great facilities and to give you the opportunity to meet our staff face to face. But those days will come, and we'll come back together as a college community, and I very much look forward to having an opportunity to welcome you onto site and onto campus to meet staff and see what we've got to offer when it's safe to do so. For now, though, there's lots of information to share this evening, whether it's through videos, through talking to staff on the chat, and of course a range of presentations this evening. My job this evening is to just share with you very briefly what York College is about, what you can expect from us, and the sorts of things that we've got available to you when you start to make your decision about where you'd like to go next. So without further ado, I'll start. I want to start by sharing with you what the college's role is, and fundamentally colleges are about creating brighter futures for individuals. We do that by making sure that we provide high quality teaching and learning, we make sure that you have access to great quality facilities, and we make sure that we've got the partnerships that you need to be successful. And those partnerships are with stakeholders in the city, they might be with employers, they might be onwards to university, or you might be progressing to an apprenticeship or independent living, whatever it might be. We've got a role to play in supporting you to do that, and fundamentally our job is to support you to move on. We are an open and accessible college, and therefore everybody is welcome to be part of York College. We're a large and diverse institution, and one of the ways that we try to make sure that we remain unified as a community is to have a clear set of values which we observe as members of staff, as colleagues, as team members, and that we ask all of our students to make a contribution to in addition. Those values are success, ambition, respect and care, and they permeate all of the things that we do at York College. But success is achieved by you committing to working hard, making sure that you commit well to the studies, whatever the course is that you've decided to participate in, and we'll support you by providing really high quality teaching and learning and access to great facilities while you're studying with us. We want you to have a sense of ambition. If you are to join us, when I meet you as part of the induction programme, I'll be talking to you about where it is that you want to go next. Our commitment is to make sure that you're supported to move to your next steps. And you've got to commit to that by making sure that you're always here, ready to learn, ready to participate. I mentioned earlier that the college is a large institution. There are about 6,500 or so students, not in all at the same time, and about 1,000 members of staff, and therefore having a value around respect really matters to us, to make sure that we know you as an individual, we know what your needs are, we can make sure that you are well supported, and we ask you to pay us that respect back as well when joining the college community. I don't want to dwell on the fact that the college is large, because we do pride ourselves on making sure that we know students well, that we know them personally, and that programmes are tailored to meet individual needs. And that's reflected in our final value, which is care. Now, you might find that in some circumstances that care feels a bit more like tough love than us wrapping you up in cotton wool, and we make no apologies for that. We have high standards and high expectations, but equally we know that there might be times when you need to reach out to us because there are particular difficulties, there are particular individual needs that you might have, and you can certainly do that, and we'll provide that help when you need it, as long as you make that ongoing commitment to contributing to that set of values as well. Why would you choose York College? There are lots of great providers in and around us, whether they're independent private trained providers, whether it's the local school sixth form or indeed other colleges. But at this college, you would have access to the widest range of courses in the region above anybody else that's providing post-16 education in the area. You'd also be choosing the college which is the highest performing in the area, and both across our academic studies and in our vocational studies too. Students here do exceptionally well. We've got really great commitment and resources available for student support, and we've got really skilled and experienced staff, both in teaching roles and in our professional services roles, and those are staff who might be working with you outside of the classroom. In tandem, those colleagues are committed to making sure that you are successful. Whilst you won't have had the opportunity to visit the building and to see it in all of its glory, we do have fantastic facilities. This building is not that old, and we regularly invest in it. This summer we spent about £1.5 million upgrading and investing in facilities to make sure that you have got access to the facilities that you need to support you to be successful. This is not an extension of school, so we don't have great long lists of rules and procedures, no bells ringing throughout the day. This is an adult environment, and therefore we're really wanting to work with individuals who join us to support them to be independent learners and to take that step towards being ready for progression to university or indeed into the world of work. I talked about facilities, and here are some examples of the facilities that you might have access to if you were to join us in college. And in the bottom right hand side there, some of the newest facilities that we've got that are part of our digital centre and also available through our new Institute of Technology. We've got a range of options that you might be considering as you leave year 11 and start to think about what your options are after that. But of course, you've got to do something. You've got to participate in learning beyond the age of 16. You can choose to do a full-time programme. That might be in a college, it might be in a school, it might be with an independent private training provider. And that will mean that you're in, if you were here, you were in between 3 and 4 days a week on a full-time programme. You might be choosing to study qualifications in A-levels, vocational or technical courses. Principally, you're in college undertaking that course. You might decide you want to do an apprenticeship, and this is a great choice for those of you that already know what sort of career you want. You want to get out into the world of work, you want to be earning, you'll be paid if you're an apprentice, and you want to pick up your qualification at the same time. And we've got a broad range of apprenticeship opportunities available as well. You might decide, actually, I'm not really certain which of those it is, and therefore you want to undertake some voluntary or paid work, but that must be with some form of training. You can't just leave and go into paid employment. It's got to be coupled with training. So if you decided that I'm thinking about A-levels, there are some subjects that I've enjoyed at school and I want to study them further. These are academic qualifications. Mostly these are assessed by written examinations. So if exams aren't your thing and doing lots of writing aren't your thing, then probably A-levels aren't for you. But if you enjoy researching, if you enjoy writing about things that you're interested in, you perform well in exam conditions, then you might find that A-levels are a really great choice for you. And we've got almost 40 A-level subjects, and you can study them in pretty well any combination. You'll hear from Glyn Jones later on talking about A-levels, but just in summary, we encourage you to undertake 4 subjects in the first year that you're with us, perhaps dropping down to 3 in your second year, and Glyn will say a little bit more about that. We also offer AS level qualifications in some subjects, so that means that after the first year you will also have a standalone qualification, and with that comes UCAS points. Probably you're thinking about going to university if you're studying A-levels, and therefore having those UCAS points will be important to you. You've got to have a good set of GCSEs. If you're taking GCSEs this year, of course, you're not going to be sitting exams, but you will nonetheless get grades. Your school, your current provider will make sure that you get the grades that reflect your best performance, and we will rely on those grades to take you into our A-level programmes. And you've got to have good passes at grade 5 in order to get onto our A-level programmes. A-level students, I said, tend to progress to university, although not all. Some do move into apprenticeships, and these are examples of students who left us last year. You might know these individuals, they might be from your school. So Alicia there, really outstanding student, performed really well in her subjects, and she's now off at the University of Birmingham where she's studying medicine. And Harry, again, local school, Millthorpe, really inspiring student, great set of results, and is now studying veterinary science at the University of Surrey. And you could be in that position, having achieved A-level qualifications, progressing off to universities. And we also get large numbers of students from here into Oxbridge universities, the University of Oxford or the University of Cambridge, and this year almost 20 of our students have been offered places to progress into Oxford and Cambridge universities. We don't just, though, focus on grades. We want to make sure that you make the maximum progress that you can, and this measure is what we call a value-added measure, and this basically means you'll have a prediction. If you get a clutch of GCSE qualifications, we'll be able to estimate what your most likely performance is at A level when you study with us. What we do is move you mostly one grade further than that estimation would suggest, because we work hard with you, but we also have really experienced A-level tutors, many of whom are national examiners. Now, they don't unfortunately have access to the exam papers, but they do know how those exams work, they do know how they're marked, how they're graded, and give you the best possible support to perform well in A-levels. So a great choice if you're thinking about academic study and thinking about progression to university. You can progress to university, though, from vocational courses. There are as many of our students undertaking vocational courses at level 3 who also progress to university. So don't think that the only way to get to university is by doing A-levels. By no means is that the case at all. And I'll show you some examples of successful vocational students. What I would say about York College, if you're interested in a subject, regardless of your GCSE performance, we've probably got a subject and a level that you can study it at. So if you're nervous about your GCSE outcomes, don't be. We'll almost certainly have a qualification that you can progress onto. Qualifications, roughly, entry-level qualifications, you don't need any formal qualifications to start at that level. So this might be the situation that you're in if you've been out of formal education. Perhaps you've had some challenges. You might have been in hospital for a period of time. You might have had periods of illness, whatever it might be. We could start you on a qualification and progress you through the levels, even if you don't have any formal qualifications. At level 1, we'd be expecting you to have at least 3 or 4 subjects at grade 2, ideally including English and maths, and at for study at level 2, which is roughly GCSE equivalent level study, then we'd be expecting you to have 3 or 4 subjects at grade 3. Level 3, which is the A-level equivalent study, the entry criteria here are the same as if you were progressing into A-level study. Now, in all circumstances, if you don't achieve a grade 4 in your GCSE English or your GCSE maths, then you will have to resit those qualifications whilst you're here, and we'll support you with additional tuition to make sure that you achieve those qualifications. Really important that you leave with a qualification that says to employers that you have got good quality literacy and numeracy skills and they're certified at least level 2, and that's what those GCSE qualifications give you. So Rebecca and Milan, they're both students who undertook vocational qualifications with us. One stayed local to study, and Milan there went off to America and is studying sports. Both of those students were studying vocational qualifications, and they were nonetheless routes to university because they are equally valued courses. They're worth the same in terms of UCAS points and so on as A-level qualifications, and it's a great route if you know that there's a particular subject that you're interested in rather than studying several subjects, and you know what you want to go off and do at university. That could be for you. You might also be going straight into work with qualifications at level 3 if you've chosen that vocational route as well. We also offer apprenticeship programmes, and my colleague Michelle will talk about these in a bit more detail later on in her session this evening. We've got qualifications available at level 2 and at level 3, and the entry criteria mirror the criteria that we have for A-levels and for vocational qualifications. Remember, in these types of qualifications, you are first and foremost an employee of the organisation that you work in. You're there 4 days a week normally, 1 day a week with us, where we're giving you what we call the off-the-job training, and you'll also have an assessor, a member of college staff, who visits you in the workplace to check on your progress, and you'll be being paid at least a minimum of £4.15 an hour. Some employers decide to pay more than that, but the minimum that you can expect to earn is that rate there. These are really great qualifications. If you know the career that you're interested in, perhaps it's part of a family business, perhaps you already have got a route in, you know you can get a job, you can get that qualification and study whilst you're working, and study alongside earning some income as well. And again, we've got examples of great apprentices. So at the bottom there, Andrew, who is an electrical apprentice, now an employee at Dunnington Electricals. He was a high-performing apprentice, such that they decided to keep him on at the end of his apprenticeship, fully qualified electrician. One of my favourite stories of our apprentices is Emma. Not just because it's great to see females bucking the trend and engaging in subjects like stonemasonry, but because Emma's work as a stonemason and an apprentice at York Minster will outlive all of us, and her work will be part of the Minster for hundreds of years to come. And that's one of the great privileges of the role that we play in supporting apprentices, certainly in this local area. So I mentioned that we're concerned about student progress. Of course, we're concerned to make sure that you achieve your qualification, but we're also concerned to make sure that once you've got that qualification, it becomes a stepping stone. You use it to move to somewhere else at the end of your period of study. You can see that the vast majority, almost 60% of our students carry on studying with us a further study, FE. That's the main progression, probably moving from level 2 to level 3. Some students will stay with us. A third of our students roughly move into higher education study, so that would represent roughly the proportion of students who are studying at level 3, and the rest there, students moving into apprenticeships. You can also study apprenticeships at degree level now. There are a range of really great degree level apprenticeships available with a range of really high quality universities. So again, you can still get high level qualifications by studying that apprenticeship route, and some of our students move also into employment. Now, the only way that we do that is because we've got really brilliant staff. Of course, it's nice to have a really pretty building to be in. It's nice to have really fabulous facilities, but actually without the people, all of that really counts for nothing, and therefore it's a real privilege to be the principal in a college where we've got such skilled and dedicated colleagues to work with. So all of our staff are highly skilled, highly qualified and very knowledgeable. The vast majority of our vocational tutors have worked for some significant period of time in the industry that they are teaching you about, and that is very, very important. A large number of our staff work for us on a part-time basis teaching and still work in the industry that they're working in, so they've got really up-to-date knowledge about those industries. We're really experienced at working with individuals who are in that early stage of adulthood. This is not a child environment, and therefore we expect to work with you as a mature individual. And as I mentioned earlier, we do have a large number of staff who are national examiners with awarding bodies. We do provide an enormous amount of support for students, and that's because we know that not everybody starts their studies with us on a level playing field, and some of you will have been used to getting support at school, whether that's financial support or additional support because you've got individual and specific needs. If that's the case at school, then make sure you take your entitlement to access that support whilst you're with us as well. Whilst we do have really brilliant staff, none of them are psychic, and therefore it's really important you talk to us about your needs and that we know about it so that we can support you, whether it's financially, we can support you with additional support if you used to have extra time in exams, or you had additional support for a particular learning difficulty or disability, then make sure we know about it. You'll have a personal tutor, a progress tutor, who will know you well. Talk to them about it. They'll know where to access support in college. We know that the region is pretty sprawling geographically, so we run 15 dedicated bus routes into college from across the region, so there's support for that, and we might also be able to provide financial support for you to be able to access those things as well. So if any of those things are on your mind, make sure that we know about it and make sure you access the support that you deserve. All of that support is about making sure that you're successful, making sure that you achieve your qualification and that you can progress. But there's more to college life than studying. There's a vast array of clubs and societies. All of these are student-led. Of course, we provide staffing to make sure that they're well coordinated, to make sure that they are safe. But ultimately, these are clubs which are run by students for students and enable students to form friendship groups outside of their subjects, to engage in competitive activities. We compete in sporting terms with other colleges across the region and nationally, and therefore we've got a range of ways in which you can engage in that. One of the great privileges about being a principal in a college is the opportunity to participate in student celebratory events, and in fact that's one of the things I've missed most about working in this way during the pandemic, that we haven't had the opportunity to come together as a college community and to celebrate both the talents of students, but also to celebrate their significant achievements. And these are some examples of those halcyon days when we were able to come together and celebrate, whether it's through awards, whether it's showcasing the talent of our music students with our Summer Sounds activity in Roundtree Park in town, or whether it's students showcasing the fashion work that they've done on the catwalk. I'm really optimistic that those days will return for us, and you will be able to benefit from coming together and celebrating. If what I've said so far has given you the information that you need to make an application, then you can do that online. If you've got confidence that you are going to meet the entry criteria, we've got information from your school that tells us that, then it may be that we can make you an offer straight away and commit you to being a York College student. If you're not certain, then of course we can still make you an offer that will be conditional, subject to your qualification outcomes. But do make that application. Do feel free to apply to more than one provider. Make sure that we know that you're interested in us, as well as you perhaps being interested in another provider. Get that form filled in, make sure that we know what it is you want to do. If you're still not certain, signal that in the process and make sure you take an opportunity to talk to somebody, or indeed engage in the chat activities with colleagues this evening, or attend one of the specialist sessions this afternoon. So after me, my colleague Martin Halliday will be talking about vocational courses and T-levels, which are a new type of qualification. After that, my colleague Michelle Lanahan, she'll be talking about apprenticeship programmes, and after that, Glyn Jones talking about A-levels in more detail, in particular the processes that you need to go through in terms of selecting subjects. That's where I wrap up my presentation. I told you that it would be brief. Thank you for giving me your attention. Thank you for dialing in. Again, I am really sorry that we're still in this position where we're doing these events online and that we can't be in, we can't talk to you face to face, meet you, meet your families. But I hope that by the end of the evening, you'll have got the information that you need to make a positive choice about your progression. And I'm hopeful that that will include York College being at the heart of that. Whatever you decide to do, you have my very best wishes to you and to your families for your future success. And I hope that you remain safe and well during the course of the pandemic. Thank you.